yourselves. This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast. This is Shane.
And I'm JP.
We are a Disc Golf Answer Man Network podcast. So, I am currently in Vegas right now.
Whoa!
Isn't that amazing?
Mind blowing.
And I am.
Where's your DeLorean?
I'm on second card, about to tee off on the second day, right now, as this podcast airs.
Whoa!
I know, amazing. And there's like all kinds of talk about me because I've aced a couple holes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, this is some Donnie Darko like through the wormhole kind of experience.
Exactly, isn't it? I know. I'm trying to think of what other cool stuff I can say. I finally threw a disc 600 feet. That was pretty cool too. Yeah. And then they actually pulled a camera from Jomez just to watch me.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Amazing.
So, with all that nonsense out of the way, we are recording this prior to me leaving for Las Vegas to play in the Las Vegas Challenge. So, this is pre-recorded, and we already made our choices for last week on the picks for Vegas, or last week's episode for the picks for Vegas. So, what we're going to do is kind of give a shorter thing. So, we're going to skip what we bought, because we didn't buy anything. We just talked about it.
I did. Ooh, my kids from coaching did get me a gift card to DoorDesk, so I
you
probably will use it for something.
Beautiful. Iron Samurais.
We'll see.
Ledgestone.
They won't be throwers.
They won't be? Okay.
I'll save it for the Ledgestone stuff, probably.
Good job. And you got those Nike. We got to mention the Nike Blazers.
Oh, yeah. Those were pretty sweet. I won those on Sneakers app the other day. Like, I had set a reminder, but my phone didn't remind me. I was like, I don't know if I really want them. And so I just like went on the raffle with about 20 seconds to go, not thinking anything would happen. I ended up hitting on them. And so they're pretty cool. They have this really, if you go on my Instagram, I made a reel about them. They have this really audacious like heel clip.
That back strap or whatever it is.
And crazy. So you can take that off, but it still leaves like this weird plastic thing, but it has another color, like yellowish highlighter yellow clip I can put on the back if I want.
Yeah.
There's another color. It was maroon with like a yellow swoosh and like blue accents that I probably should have gone with, but I like these black ones.
Are these collector shoes? Like, don't crease them?
I mean, they could be to some people. I mean, they're not as collectible as Jordans.
Right.
But they were a collab with this company called Acronym, who's kind of like a streetwear company.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I mean, they're probably mildly collectible.
Okay. It's crazy. Like, the Air Forces and like sneakerheads are awesome people.
Yeah.
I love the shoes, but man, that whole lifestyle is crazy.
Right.
Like the amount of shoes that people have. And so, are you a sneakerhead or no? Ish.
How do I put it? I would say I used to be really big into sneakers.
Okay.
I've never gone onto the secondary market to like a StockX or something like that to get sneakers because I think they're marked up way too high.
Oh, sure.
But I do have quite a few pairs that are easily a couple $100 more than what I've paid.
Really?
Yeah. Like I have a number of Jordans where they're worth, I know I for sure have a pair of Jordans that are $200 to $400 more than what I paid.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Like I love sneakers. I love shoes. Because growing up we didn't have money at all. So shoes were Payless and, Kmart, and that's where I got my shoes. Mm-hmm. And I remember the very first time my brother, once again 6 years older than me, he saved his money and bought Jordans.
Okay.
And these were 89s, maybe 90s. They were still the Chicago. They were red and black, and they were kind of a standard Air Force One look. So it was kind of that standard traditional, like 83s almost. They were very similar to those.
Okay.
And I remember he bought some, And I was so up in arms with my mom because she wouldn't allow me to buy any. We were in the Palm Springs Mall because I lived in California at the time. We were in the Palm Springs Mall. And once again, we just didn't have money like that. That was not the way we lived. And when I got older, I started buying crazy shoes because I had money finally. I fortunately was successful enough in my life that I started, but I never got into the sneakerhead thing. But I could see myself very easily becoming a sneakerhead.
Yeah, like the amount of money I've wanted to spend on sneakers versus the money I can is like, I'm like, yeah, I can't afford these. I can't afford that. I really want them.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, I got to tell myself, like, no, like I need diapers for Lulu or something like that. You're like, you know, you just have to put things in perspective. And there's times too where I've entered raffles for stuff, not thinking I would win. And I'm like,
you are the winningest raffle person I know.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever won a raffle.
Like the very first time I ever went on the sneakers app was for, what was it for? I'll go look real quick because I can bring up my history really fast.
Okay.
It was for a pair of Jordans that it was a pair of Jordan 3s. Tinker Hatfield, he was a shoe designer for Nike for Jordan. Mm-hmm. He there was a Jordan release, and so it was the very first sneaker I won on sneaker app, and it was $200.
So by one, this kind of an eBay sneaker app is kind of like an eBay.
No, it's like what you do is you still have to enter so. The sneaker is actually set for a certain amount of money. Like you're actually going to pay. You have to give your credit card and everything.
Okay.
But what happens is you put your name in, you submit your information, and there's a timer and everything that runs down. And there's only certain amount of pairs in your size and in that style. And
so it's not a first come first serve. It's just raffle. Like you pay for these shoes. If you get them, you get them. If you don't,
sometimes it is, and then sometimes there is like a first come first serve.
Oh, okay.
Situation. Like I have gotten into situations where I've missed by like maybe a couple seconds getting in line, and it's like you're in line, and then it's like, oh, you didn't get them.
Sure.
So, but yeah, so there's quite a few pairs that I've.
Yeah, I'm looking at a screen here. It's probably like 15 to 20 pair, maybe more than that.
No,
I don't know. Well, that's about.
There's 10 to 12, maybe a little more than that.
Come on. As he says that, he flicks the screen and like 7 more appear.
No, I've gotten lucky.
Yeah. So that's awesome. But those are cool shoes. I mean, when you were looking at them, I was like, man, those are really audacious shoes.
Some of them are.
But, the ones you just like, the Blazers.
Yeah, those are. Yeah,
those are really audacious shoes. And I'm like, man, would someone wear those? That's why I assumed you were a sneakerhead because of.
Oh, I intend to wear them for sure. But, yeah, like my big favorites are Jordan 4s and Jordan 3s. Those are the designs I like the best.
Okay.
But I've bought in other basketball shoes that I've played in and but I still wear them out and about.
Right.
And stuff like that. So
Yeah. Mine is Hot Wheels.
Oh.
But I only purchase trucks.
Only trucks.
So trucks like El Caminos, Jeeps, like trucks. Like if a kid would say car, like trucks. Those are the ones that I buy. I just have a fascination. I've been a truck guy almost my entire life.
What about tracks? Did you get into the tracks, like Hot Wheels tracks? Like you'd race your cars around or do anything like that, or you just collect the cars?
I was given a secondhand Hot Wheels track that had like motors and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Like way back in the day. And there was so much, it was so overwhelming. I never put it together.
Okay.
Because it was like this huge set.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was. If it was my cousin or a friend or something, but we got it secondhand. Like, hey, he doesn't use this anymore. Do you want it? Absolutely. I remember it sat under a bed forever. We were living out like behind my grandfather's garage in this little efficiency apartment thing. And it was just basically one room and then a bathroom. And that's basically all it was. It was like a sink, not even a full bathroom. We had to go inside the main house for the bathroom. and there was no room to set it up.
Okay.
And we lived in Blythe, California at the time, which is it's a desert town. So I could have set it up outside, but I just never got around to it. And I think when my grandmother died and then my grandfather moved, that ended up being thrown away. That's how
Sure.
long I had it. But yeah, my kid, now I bought him a cool track. He doesn't use it either. Like he set it up a couple times and played with it. It was probably like 2 or 3 months worth of, and now all of his Hot Wheels just sit in a bin. But
Yeah.
he's always like they've never tried to open my Hot Wheels. Like I have hundreds, still in package.
Oh, wow.
I used to have it hanging on a wall in our old house in Sister Bay, but when we built this place, I haven't found a place yet to put them up. I'm thinking about putting them up here, but they've never tried to open them.
How far back are they?
I go back into the early 80s. Wow. Yeah, I have cars that are unwrapped, and then I have some cars before Hot Wheels started to become really collectible again. I'd find them at like swap meets and just boxes and boxes of them where you buy them for 50 cents a car, and I'm pulling out like these early 80s like metal, and I don't do Matchbox, only Hot Wheels.
Okay.
So, and when I say early 80s, so 85, I think I have some in the 81, 82 prior to me being born. I have a couple in the 70s, and then I have some old ones like where I found them when I was remodeling homes, like any of our properties or anything like that, and I find them in the walls or something like that. I found some
Crazy.
at the old Goldsmith Gallery.
Yeah.
There were like 3 old Hot Wheels that were sitting up in this little cubby in the attic. It looked like but it was a Boy Scout belt. There was all kinds of little things in there. And I found it. I was like, this is cool. It was like some marbles and some jacks. Like it was just like a kid's little hiding place. Like he was probably hiding it from his brother or sister or something like that.
Sure.
Or however it went. But I found those, and there were some Hot Wheels there. So I was
Crazy.
pretty excited about that one. But yeah, so that's really the only thing that I collect. Well, and discs.
And discs.
Yeah. Got a lot of those as well. But yeah. And I guess firearms, like I've always been a sport shooter. Like I like targets and skeet and clay and all that stuff, and I've loved that. I've done that. So I have firearms in that regard, but I wouldn't say I collect them. I have the ones I shoot, and that's really I guess I have more than that, but but it's all like inheritance and things like that too. So so speaking of disruptions, that's what we're going to talk about today. So we talk about the power of disruption in disc golf and on all different avenues. So I brought up a couple tournaments. So DDO, USDGC, and now just the All-Star weekend. Dogs barking in every single one of them.
Yeah.
And disruptive, truly disruptive. Not like, I hate to point him out, but not like Nico LaCastro disruptive, like or his disruptions that he claims and makes him take that long. Like true disruptions, like dog barking on pivotal moments in time. And there was a famous one with Paul Macbeth. That was my dog barking. Yeah. Where they did like a UDisc article about it, right? If I remember rightly.
I think so.
So what are the true powers of disruption in disc golf? I can think of quite a few different disruptions. So I want to talk about the disruptions, and then I want to talk about the feasibility that maybe it's not disruptions and just maybe a weak mind.
Sure.
Within players. So let's start with the disruptions themselves. So we talked about the dogs barking. What about other players on cards? On the cards you're on.
Right.
And then fans.
Yeah.
Because you think of the eight holes or the
right
USDGC. No, at Maple
Hill.
Yeah. So
I mean, you can hear them throughout the whole course. Like, I mean, it's probably not as loud as you get further away, but you can still hear it.
Yeah.
And any tournament you see, they've got the signs up. We walk quiet. And players are putting or approaching their shot. It used to be too, not anymore, wind rustling leaves or branches or anything like
right.
You
the squirrel,
you get your reset, but that no more. That's not allowed anymore. And that would be an easy way. You could just claim that reset your mental clock for your 30 seconds, but now that's no longer available.
Well, and I think that claim was a little weak. I think
Yeah.
there wasn't enough behind that rule. So it was either make it basketball, or
Yeah.
or go this direction where you define what it is.
Yes.
So let's bring up basketball.
Squeak.
Not only one of the best movies ever made, but the premise of being able to
Psych out your opponent.
psych out your opponent.
Yeah.
Man, like, I feel that we don't have to be golf.
Right.
And I know there's a lot of comparison, and I don't like the comparison between having to be something or not, but we don't have to take everything from golf. I think there's some very appropriate things we can use and utilize from golf, and I think we are. But this whole, like, professionalism, and I'm throwing up the air quotes. You can see me do it, but they can't. I'm throwing up the air quotes of professionalism because is that truly professional if there's no crowds, there's no chanting, there's no cheering, there's no 8 holes, there's no, like, are those disruptions truly bad? Is there truly power behind them, or are they actually pretty good? Does it liven up the sport a bit, like basketball?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny too because I think of Happy Gilmore as well. When Happy gets out on tour, and everybody's
yes, perfect
like
example.
just rowdy around his card, and Gavin's all frustrated and up in arms.
This is not golf.
Yeah, and Happy's drinking beer, riding the pony.
Yeah, beating up Bob Barker. Actually, he gets beat up by Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, just so you know.
Yeah.
It's only a 25-year-old movie.
That's something I feel like disc golf could embrace, but as we're trying to move into a more, it's funny, that's an image that we're trying to move away from, but I think we could also balance that between the professionalism and just having fun, because it's a fun sport. And you just, there's nothing wrong with getting excited about players and being,
Agreed.
And
we've talked about it with Nico and Brody, and I love their personalities.
Yeah. And I love watching the tour, but I love watching the skins matches, the OTB matches, the mic'd up practice rounds, with Dromez, with Yuli and Germ. And
what is it, the Sexton one? What did they? Champs versus
Champs
Chumps.
versus Chumps. Yes. Yeah. I love that I'm sure there's banter, out on the course, but they're not razzing each other that we know of.
Right.
Whereas, maybe Calvin's saying something to Kevin Jones on a card, like, oh, you're going to cage this putt, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's still something on the line because it's a skins match, but they're out, and they're out just being jovial with each other, having fun.
Right.
Like, I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, and this is going to be something that you might be surprised that I'm going to say, but I think that's the one thing that I don't like about Paul. Let me clarify,
Okay.
because I'm giving his foundation $10,000 plus whatever else I can raise this year, but I don't think he does any justice for the fun of the sport.
Sure.
Like, I don't think he promotes that well enough because of his killer mentality, like the win at all costs mentality, which that's also needed. And I think there's characters that need to be had across the spectrum.
Yeah.
But he is the most recognizable face in our sport. He's, by far the most popular person in our sport. Maybe not by far, but pretty handedly, he's the most popular person in our sport. He's the face. He's the most influential.
Yeah.
He's the face. And I think Ricky's coming right in behind him. He's settling in there, especially with the Sports Illustrated articles that just came out recently. Not that Sports Illustrated is even relevant anymore, but maybe they are, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what their followings and everything are, because I think Brody has more following than Sports Illustrated does at this point. But maybe
I still
Ricky has
deliver
more.
a fair amount of them.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
They still actually print a magazine?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
That is crazy to me. So anyway, yeah. After showing you the magazine that I had.
Yeah.
So I look at, like, Paul, I don't think he's doing anything wrong. I just think he's the stoic character in this novel.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have more Happy Gilmores. Like, I think we need to have more fun. I think we need to have more Brody Smith off course character on course. Because on course, Brody Smith is 100% about the game.
Right. And I know Hannah is putting out more content. Like, she's got her own channel, and Paul's got his channel, on YouTube and things. But they just did it was like a couple weeks ago. They did a round with a doubles round with Grady Shue and Paige. Yeah, and Paige. And so,
and they got beat on the first round.
Yeah, and then they came back with another video. But I didn't watch it too closely. But people need to see that side of Paul more. Not just the killer. And I think he gets out on other people's channels here and there and kind of does stuff, but just open up more.
Right. And maybe he's comfortable doing that, maybe not. Because like when he was doing a lot of the videos with the foundation guys, when he was part of the foundation disc golf.
Yeah.
Not the foundation, Paul Macbeth Foundation. When he was part of the foundation disc golf, when he was coming out on those, like, it was fun-ish.
Yeah.
But this last one with the shoes, like, it was good. You could hear him, like, talking crap with Grady and, BS in between them and stuff. And I think you saw that a little bit with the foundation guys.
Yeah.
It started to.
Or even the video with Simon when they were throwing each other. They had to throw different lines.
The other lines, yes.
Yeah. That was pretty good too.
And I love seeing that. And I think it's kind of swinging back to that power of disruption. Like, I think that is something that we could see in the sport where you get them a little more lively, you get the crowds involved a bit more because the galleries are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and spectators. And to continue to be like, hey, don't do this. Like, because when we play casual rounds, and that's 90% of what disc golf is, man, it's so fun to BS with people and make fun of people. And you think you capture that stuff on camera, it's gold. But you do it normal, like, people get super distracted and people get super huffy about it. And I understand it's for money.
Yeah.
I get that. But, and these folks are making their living off of it. So there are different circumstances, but why can't it be fun? Like, why can't it be hockey? Why can't we stack our beer cans on the boards? Like
baseball making the big snakes with all the beer.
With all the cups.
Cups, yeah.
Like, why can't that stuff happen? That I think that stuff can still happen alongside of what's happening now. And there are going to be personalities. Like, I remember sitting at the Atlanta Braves in the outfield. We had done a stadium tour on our way home, a college buddy of mine, and he paid for all of it. Like, I don't know if I ever truly said how thankful I was for that experience to Brad, but he allowed me to do that. Like, it was awesome. We went from stadium to stadium, and he never made me pay for anything. I bought a hat it was awesome.
That's cool.
One of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. And I remember sitting, and I remember we were right on the wall in Atlanta, and in the outfield, and he's yelling. I don't remember who the player was, but there's just this banter going back and forth, and this outfielder was just giving it right back and forth, and like, it was so fun because it was a side of baseball. I always thought baseball was so, like, this is so boring, but being in the crowd made me enjoy it.
Nice.
I don't think disc golf has that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's that disruption. Well, that's disrespectful. You're going to distract the players. Like,
yeah.
Does it have to always be 100% about the player?
Right.
Or is it about the experience of the sport?
Yeah. I mean, that's why you go. You go, like, for the experience. Like, that's the big part of going to see your favorite people, is not just seeing them, but like experiencing everything around you. You want to have you want it to be the most enjoyable experience you can possibly have.
Right.
And it's different. I mean, now you're playing MP40, but it's different as an AM because, we're, for the most part, we're playing for funny money or, a trophy.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
We've already given our money away.
Exactly.
We're not getting it back. I get it.
Yeah. And so, to be able to joke on the card and, where you place doesn't always matter because there's nothing on the line really for us.
Right. And I think that's, this is going to be like toting my own call, but like, I think the thing that I bring to a card, it's not amazing play. It's not, it's the fun, and it's the easiness that it is to play around with me, especially in competition. Because I don't take a thing serious. And that's actually, I walk up to the card and I say, just so you know, I take nothing serious. And if I cross the line, you need to tell me.
Sure.
And I don't say bad words. That's just not my character. I don't say bad words. I'm not making improper jokes, nothing like that. I just don't take a thing seriously. And I might see a putt and be like, hey, you got to get it up to put it in. Like I'll just constantly banter. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I've had people say, hey, stop. All right, no big deal.
Right.
Like it's not a big deal. But I think we got to have that ability to not let those disruptions, have that much power.
Yeah.
And I think even in the pro side, like the dogs barking and stuff like that, stuff you can't control. But to make a big deal about it is a whole different story. Like this should never happen. It should, or the Nico thing. Like he's taking too much time. It's horrible. It's just right. No, he's not. You're the one. Well, he is.
Yeah.
Get back to that. He is. But you're the one allowing it to disrupt you. Like, why is it? So we'll get to this next point, unless there's more you want to talk about.
Well, no, I was just going to bring up I don't think I've ever had a bad card. I've maybe had a guy get a little testy about things, but it wasn't because of anything a player had done. It was more of him not playing well, and then all of a sudden he was distracted by something, and it got him on tilt. But the rest of us were fine, so it didn't bring the dynamic totally down.
Yeah,
like I just had fun with the other guys.
Right. And I think I've had those experiences as well. I'm glad you mentioned that because I there's two very specific examples where one time it never bothered me. And this was actually ironically enough, at LVC. I was playing with a younger gentleman, and it was him and his dad that were playing with me. Don't remember his name. I'm not going to call him out. I'm not going to describe him. But his play was not as good as he expected it to be. And he went on a tirade, like, F this, F that, like, this is stupid, throwing stuff. And finally, I just decided, okay, I got to walk up to this guy because he kind of started to cling to me. And I don't know why, but yeah, I walked up to this guy and I just said, hey, like, we all have these days. I understand it's Vegas, it's moving day, it's all this stuff. I go, but you cannot bring everybody else down. Like, that's not appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
And I go, if you keep doing this, we're going to have to call you on it. And well, fine, call me. I don't care. And I go, that's not the point of that rule. It's just to keep you in check. Like, hey, you're starting to disrupt us and you're bringing our play down. So we had this big conversation and he got really quiet and just stood in the back for a little while.
Oh.
And then he ended up coming up to me and be like, hey, man, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm trying my best, But his dad was just like, it was the craziest thing to see this dynamic because I'm a father. I had a father, But to allow your son, who I think was like 16 or 17, to go off the way he did.
And the dad was playing, or is he
just with them, like a caddy, basically. Yeah. It was crazy to me. And I'm not judging their family dynamic or his fathering or parenting ability or him being a son. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just saying, wow, it was crazy how this gentleman was acting. So that was one situation. And it was truly getting to a point where it was distracting. Like, other people on the card were like, we got to get away from him. Someone needs to say something. Can we get him kicked out? Like, they were getting to that point. And I'm like, I'll go talk with him. No worries. And I walked over and talked to him. And he was better, but he completely shut off at that point. Like, he didn't want to be there. He was done. And he took a lot of penalty strokes, like a ton, because he was just completely off his game. But power of distraction, in that regard. And the other time that I can remember, and this was at Am Nationals. I was on a card and I didn't play well the first day, played pretty well the next couple days, but I didn't play well the first day. And the card I was on, it was the gentleman that recited all of his shots every single time he threw. Like, what? Like he would do the whole like throw, be like, yeah, that was an FD. I meant to put it on Heiser, but and he would just like go through his shot selection the entire time. And this is the only time I've ever been distracted by another player in my 20 years. I couldn't get over, like, we saw it. Like, dude, we saw what happened. You didn't have to go through that. I didn't say anything because I didn't feel that it was appropriate. Other guys didn't. But it was one of those things, for some reason, I'm that guy that as I'm walking down the fairway, he comes up next to me and wants to recap these shots, every single shot. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, I didn't know what to do. And he was playing really well too. I think he ended up like finishing very well.
Okay.
But I'm just like, man, like I don't. And he's talking about like, well, yesterday I did this and it was this and that. And I was, oh my goodness, like it got to me. It got to me. So talk about disruptions and other players. Like I'm glad you brought that up. Like both of those things were just so like mind-blowingly. But outside of that, like between those two situations, sure, we've had little situations here and there where someone kicks a bag or something like that. But that's fine. Emotion is okay.
I mean, the biggest distraction I had was this past year at Fall Classic. I think I brought this story up before. I was lining up a putt, probably like 15, 20 feet. And this guy, you're allowed to drive golf carts at the tournament. And so this guy went back to his cart, and I'm just about to like release the disc. And he ends up getting on the golf cart and like floors it and like brings it up like kind of close, like up to circle's edge. And like right as I'm releasing, like I hear the motor kind of kick up, and I'm like, and I released it, and I just fell short, and I was so mad because it was a makeable putt. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, like I wasn't like mad, like I was mad at the situation. I'm not really mad at him, but I should have made the putt. But yeah, that was a distraction where like. Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about resetting. I just went through my motions, and that's what happened. And, you just kind of play through it.
Yeah, there's a lot of discipline to resetting, too.
Yeah.
And, in that situation, I feel like can be avoided, obviously, from the person that's starting it. But also, if you're a little more used to distraction and stuff, it's not just like church mouse. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like you'd probably handle that situation a bit better, And I think I've been in the same situations. And now... like I talk through my throws. Like sometimes I'll just be chatting with somebody and I'll putt while I'm chatting with somebody. I don't know if I've ever done that in tournament. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. But yeah, that's unfortunate. And that sucks when that stuff happens. Those legitimate disruptions. And that's just mindfulness of the people you're playing with. It's just not there.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I think I was a distraction once. I was at a tournament and we were walking by Watch on FPO. I was with Jordan at DDO, and Jen Allen was putting at the time. And I turned to like look at him or do something, and he's like, dude, you have to stay still. I'm like, okay.
You told me the story.
Because she was putting, and like I didn't realize it at first. He's like, she's putting. I was like, okay. So like I got real still, and then like my mouth got real tight. I was like, hey, can I talk like this? And I don't remember if she made it or not. So sorry, Jen Allen, if you didn't, I don't remember. Yeah.
I've been in those situations too, where you're just there spectating, and then you realize you're like right in the line of And you're like, so do I stand here awkwardly? Is that worse than actually moving out of the way?
And that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I just feel really awkward just standing here. If I could have just moved about 20 feet to like the right or left, I would have felt a little better about it.
Yeah. Who was it? Jordan, I think, was the one that he got told like, hey, quiet down. Who was it that did that to him? I wish he was here. He could tell the story. Anyways, he was at an event spectating, was BSing. I think it was with Caden. Okay. And I think someone like looked back and it's on video, like it's on the coverage. You can see him like, hey, and then they mentioned something about the crowd being a little rowdy, and that was Jordan, Jordan and Caden, I believe.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
He'll be able to correct me once he hears this, but man, that I thought was like, of course it was you guys, like, and they're both the most jovial, happy, like. Kind, like, and it destroyed both of them that they were those guys.
Yeah.
They were just so disappointed about it. But yeah, it's just so funny. Okay, so let's talk about the mental fortitude of players. So my humble opinion is, so I had a coach in high school that was an old Marine, and he had a saying for the team that was, if you don't want someone else to decide the game, play better. So he was specifically, I changed it a little bit. He was specifically talking about refs. If you don't want the refs to decide the game, play better. And that stuck with me for a long time because it wasn't don't let refs decide the game. It was the meaning behind what he said as don't let someone else define your actions. Just be better. And I know that's easier said than done. Like, just be better. Like, that's that like hardcore dad that says,
Yeah.
just be better, kid. Like, okay, what does that mean? So in my mind, that means when you are playing a tournament round or just a regular Raz round with your buddies, like, I think adapting those skills and taking your game seriously all the time while still being able to have fun and have those distractions around you is only going to make your mental fortitude that much better when you're on the course doing those things.
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I mentioned to you about the disc golf cart coming in when you were talking about, or the disc golf cart. Yeah, it was a disc golf cart that day, but the golf cart coming in. I feel that it is just truly a sign of mental weakness.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of the ref situation, this year basketball, coaching kids basketball. So I would coach and I'd sit and watch like another grade play. And when things got, down, or the team was up and all of a sudden they catch a bad break, man, these refs suck, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
It's like, no, you need to understand that the refs aren't the problem. They're going to make those calls anyway. You have to rise above and play beyond. You have to understand that they're going to make those calls, and like, you're not getting them, you got to keep playing. And that's hard to do. But Alyssa and I, we talk about this quite a bit with professional sports and what it takes to be like the GOAT or whatever. You're play on the court or field, whatever your sport you're playing, you're there because you have the ability. What separates you being the GOAT or being the top of your sport is that mental aspect, and that comes with checking yourself, whatever it is, being able to weed out the distractions around you, all that.
Clear the mechanism.
Yeah.
What movie was that?
I don't know. But yeah, that's what separates pros from AMs, is that mental toughness, understanding the situation or whatever you're placed in, and being able to rise above that.
Right.
And so, not to take anything away from who's the Olympic athlete, Simone Biles, or was
Simone Biles? Yeah,
right?
Because of that mental.
She took a mental.
Yeah.
She said she was mentally distracted, and I don't want to put anything on that because it is becoming a very hot topic nowadays. Like, people do get mentally stressed up about things. Like, I suffer from anxiety a bit. I've had panic attacks quite a bit, but being able to be the best, and maybe it's just something they couldn't overcome. Like, to be the GOAT, like to be the best at what you're the best at, you have to have that mental toughness, and that means compartmentalizing whatever that is and understanding, hey, I need to shut this off and be me. Like, I know what I'm capable of, and just ride it out.
Right. And so there's an example of, and I just use my example. So I mentioned that I did sport shooting. So in trap or skeet, you can pull off a shot. So just because the pigeon flies, as far as the clay target flies, it doesn't mean that you have to shoot it in certain realms. So it doesn't count as like, hey, you can let targets go. There's only a certain amount you can do. I won't get into the details, but one of the hardest things in trap shooting is hard to pull off a target. Once a target flies, especially if it's a broken bird, so it's a dud, so it actually comes out and the clay target's already broken and it wobbles or flies, or you just didn't get your beat on it properly. You're just not pulling the right way. Maybe you misjudged where it was coming from, whatever the case may be. But one of the hardest things is just to pull down off of it and pull another. And what that is over time, you just get used to, okay, it didn't go right. This is what it's supposed to be. It's not going to throw me off my game. I'm just going to reset and step back over the ball. And it's the same thing like in golf. Like, hey, you go to set up and then all of a sudden your mind goes somewhere else. Pull yourself off that ball, reset yourself and come back to it. And I think that's, like you said, the best in the world can do those things. And it translates to all sports. And that's why I wanted to use the sports shooting was with trap. Some of the best shooters that we had out there were individuals that could do that no problem. Just pull off, no big deal, set back up.
Sure.
It
begs an interesting question in disc golf. Like baseball, when a batter's in the box and the pitcher's, about to get in the windup or whatever, they can step out, take time.
Mm-hmm.
Could we see disc golf like timeout?
Right.
Like could that ever be implemented where you're getting there and you're like, obviously like, because you're not allowed to use that distraction anymore. They're just like timeout, mental check, get back to it, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see that because that's also part of the game too. And I think that's why when we had the discussion about Nico and, some of the more controversial players in the sport, but Nico specifically, we talked about, is it gamesmanship that he's actually using the rules of the sport to his advantage, specifically calling a timeout before a kick or stepping out of the batter's box. I mean, you're trying to ice somebody in that regard. And is that the same thing? And being able to use those things, I mean, it's very important to be able to do that. The proper timeout in a football game can be the difference between winning or losing.
Yep.
And the proper stepping outside the batter's box can be the difference between a strike or a ball, So I guess when you look at the realm of disc golf and distractions, I think there needs to be something like that because I think with disruptions, they're going to happen. So you should be able to step off the ball, recollect yourself, and come back to it, which I think is appropriate what they have right now. But I think it could also be used as a tool.
Yeah.
As in, I know we're tied. I'm 3 feet further out than the guy that I need to be tied with. And he's getting himself ready. If I step off this, I know I can still make that putt, but is it going to give him a little more time to think about the reasons he's going to miss it?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, and I think that could be said for player dynamics, like the Paul and Ricky back in the day. Paul didn't think that Ricky had mental fortitude. And he probably could have used that to his advantage at that point. So, and especially after it came out in that LA article where he actually called him out and said he doesn't finish.
Yeah.
That was pretty big. But yeah, so I think there's a lot of different avenues we can use for disruptions. But like you said, that whole, I'm not judging anybody's mental capacities or the situation they're going through in their life or telling anybody they're less of a person because they can't block that mechanism. I like the Simone Biles thing, we'll get back to that. Like, I'm not saying she's any less of a competitor. She's probably one of the best gymnasts that the United States have ever seen. She just needed some time. No big deal. That's fine. I'm not judging her for that. But does that take her out of the GOAT?
Right.
Like you said.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing with a lot of individuals. We all need those breaks. If it happens during a competition, it could affect you in the long run. So
yeah,
those choices all have consequences.
Yeah. And that's not even, that breaks the surface a little bit on the outside of, the pressures we face outside of the actual competition, what weighs down on us, we might be thinking about.
Right.
Someone I think about when Ricky's sister had passed, how he flew to go see her before, she eventually passed and came back and competed at DDO and
did very well.
Did very well. Yeah.
I mean, he had a hot round and, so he did, but he also had, the final round was one of the worst rounds.
Yeah.
And I think that all had something to do with it.
Absolutely.
It all had something to do with it. Yeah. I don't know if I have much else to hammer out there. So
yeah, I don't know.
But so there you go, power disruption. So you think about it in that way. Jordan's question, we did get another one from him. So this one I like. Not that I didn't like the last one, but this one has the potential to be much funnier.
Yeah.
Who is the best dancer on tour? So Jordan, his answer was Emerson Keith for his little cart scoot move. What was that in? What was it, a Jomez Hole preview or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Where he's like dancing and scooting on the cart and everybody's dancing in the background.
Yeah, I remember
and he's
seeing
just
that.
scooting across in front. So that's what Jordan's referring to as Emerson's Keith cart scoot. Could you be like the cart scoot boogie?
Yeah.
Was that? Kevin Costner was the actor. He was a pitcher. the one that said clear the mechanism.
Oh,
And
is
his
that Bull Durham?
No, it's not Bull Durham. It wasn't Bull
No?
Durham because that wasn't Kevin Costner. That was it wasn't Kevin Costner. Hold on, ready? But anyway, so what do you think? I'll pull it up while you're answering.
Best dance outfit, Joel Freeman.
Well, and he doesn't even have to change. Like,
No, that's
he
right.
wears
Yeah,
it already.
exactly.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there. Best dance outfit would go to Joel. I think part of me, MPO. I don't know, man. MPO or FPO. I could see Sarah Hokom getting down. I think she could like
Hokom, okay.
Not necessarily like ballroom dancing or anything like that. I just think like having a party, like good time, like
Right.
not giving a rip about
Yep.
I think she could probably
Hokum. Okay, I like that.
yeah. I think she has a pretty carefree attitude just to get down and get loose. And MPO, man, hard to think.
I'll get my FPO while you're thinking.
Okay.
I think Kona.
Mm.
And I think it's only because recency bias. I had was scrolling through her Instagram
Okay.
when she got picked up by Dee Dee, and I'm pretty sure she has a couple like party pics in there.
Okay.
Like where she's out in like a dress dancing or something like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, oh, I see her as being someone. I can go MPO first.
Sure.
Chris Clemens.
Oh yeah, that's a good
That's too
one.
obvious, but it's good.
I'm gonna go James Conrad. I think.
Oh, you think so?
He-
But he's a juggler, I know for sure.
I think I've heard him say that he goes to quite a few music festivals.
Okay.
And that he and his girlfriend travel around when they're, in between or, whatever
Yeah.
city is. They
That's a
look to-
Clemonade thing too.
Yeah.
So what genre of dance are you thinking? Are we thinking like EDM,
Yeah.
like
that-
get crazy and
I could see James Conrad being more of a bluegrass, like kind of that kind of scene. But Chris Clemens, I think he gets
Yeah,
down
they're
to the
EDM,
EDM, yeah.
yeah?
And even Eagle listens to a lot of EDM music. I don't know if he's much of a dancer, but I know that he does listen to
Yeah,
electronic music.
I could see Eagle breaking it down a
Yeah.
little bit, doing a little Fortnite reenact.
Oh yeah.
What about Eric Oakley?
Okay.
I don't know why I see him as a dancer for some reason because I think he just like all inhibitions.
I want to see Eric on his Twitch channel get down when he's playing Fortnite some night, like
Exactly.
done some music. Like,
If he wins one, he has to do a couple celebration
yeah,
dances.
something.
I'm good with that. So you hear it, folks, just Eric, you have to do it now. Yeah, I think those are two. So I'm gonna. Well, no. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a like a group that kind of like travels around together that goes to a lot of festivals together.
Okay.
I think Kevin Jones goes to festivals.
Okay.
Paige Pearson, Alyssa Liu, they
Yeah.
go to stuff. I'm trying to think of who else. James Conrad for sure kind of travels in that group. Yeah, I don't know who else.
Who do you think would have the best signature move? Doesn't that like all together? It doesn't have to, but who would have the best signature move? Because there's always that guy that has the one dance
Yeah.
that they practiced.
Yeah.
Like I can crip walk, like nobody's business. I barely danced in my own wedding.
Yeah.
But crip walk,
Okay.
got it. Because I was actually taught by somebody how to crip walk.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like, no, man, you gotta, like, it was so fun to learn. And he was so into it. Like, he's like, no, you have to learn. Like, he was like one of my best friends that I've ever had in my life. He has since been dispatched from this world, but it was so funny because I remember standing there and he was like, you got more soul than that, Shane. And I was like,
boy,
what?
that's a
What are you
call
saying?
out.
I'm doing bad? He's like, no, this is, it was so fun to learn that. But anyways, yeah, so you always have the guy that does like the worm.
Yeah.
There's always that.
Yeah.
There's one guy, or girl. So I have to be mean. It's not going to be mean, but it's Drew Gibson. I feel like he's that guy. He has the one move that he can do really well, and he wants to show it off.
Yeah.
And then he's out.
Okay. I could see Thomas Gilbert maybe doing that.
You think so?
Yeah.
Pull out like the shopping cart or the sprinkler.
Something like that. Just he's like, I'm good.
Yeah. Peace out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I like those. So, all right. Rate us, review us, like us, follow us, share us,
Yeah.
do all that fun stuff.
All that fun stuff.
Yep. So we are available basically on any podcasting app there is, through any avenue. Rate us and review us on Apple. Give us a 5-star or don't. Just give us something.
Yep.
Let us know you're listening to us. Leave us a review. And where can they find you?
One night.owl, and that is on Instagram.
All right. On Instagram, it's door_disc_golf or Door Disc Golf Store on Facebook. And on TikTok now, we have Door Disc. So come and find us there. And if you just want to shop and enjoy some of the awesome merchandise we have, doordiscgolf.com or doordisc.com. And you can also visit us if you're ever up in Wisconsin area. You come out to Silver Creek, or you want to go to Silver Cup, do anything like that, we're just up the road. So about an hour and a half drive. You can come visit us there. Or if you just want to see my pretty face. Maybe not so pretty, but if you want to see my face. All right. Hope you're enjoying all the Vegas content that I'm putting out. And I'm making this promise now before I'm even doing it, but I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy every bit of it, or you're enjoying every bit of it right now. We're talking into the present. And I think that's it, right?
Shane from the future.
Exactly. Yes. This is Shane from about 9 days from now, or 8 days from now. So, no. Exactly 1 week from now. No, 9 days. So, hope you enjoyed that little segment.
I thought you'd know better. You're from the future.
Yeah, I am. So, oh, man. I'm not like The Simpsons.
No.
All right. Well, have a good day and peace.